Surprisingly, despite the camel's superiority in strength, mass, and size, it couldn't definitely defeat the donkey. The donkey is too assertive and robust, so when a donkey refuses to submit to humans, acts stubborn, doesn't follow commands, or goes wherever it wants, it should be regarded as relatively mild behavior. It could be much worse. Strangely enough, donkeys are remarkably loyal to humans. Moreover, it's usually the owners who manage to separate the two battling animals. Among themselves, donkeys also engage in desperate battles. They can kick and fight with hooves, but in a genuinely intense conflict, they resort to using their teeth. They strike not only at the throat, but also at another vulnerable point on the opponent's body, the genitals. If a donkey manages to bite this area, it not only inflicts excruciating pain, but can also fatally wound the opponent. Donkeys don't just bite, they grip the target in their teeth for an extended period. It sounds pretty terrifying, doesn't it? They aim for this area not out of cruelty, but for tactical reasons. The donkey's body is very robust, and finding a place to strike isn't exactly straightforward. However, damaging large blood vessels near the surface of the skin and the groin area could be fatal for the opponent before medical help arrives. While they didn't reach this area in this instance, the aggressor still grabbed the opponent by the hind legs. The donkey managed to lift both hind limbs of the enemy, making it perform a daunting dance. The victim donkey didn't expect such cruelty, but now it won't mess with this opponent. The tactic of delivering dangerous blows to the most sensitive areas is often employed against horses. Reaching their throat is challenging, but the tail is a different battle. The height of the donkey is perfect for a cunning strike in this area. A frightened horse might panic and run away from a donkey half its size to avoid severe injuries. A donkey can unexpectedly display such malice and aggression that a single warning is enough. Here, the donkey does nothing. It doesn't hit the horse, doesn't kick it, and doesn't attempt to bite. However, using body language, the small hoofed animal clearly communicates one simple thought to the larger creature. If the horse dares to touch the enraged donkey, only one of them will see the sunrise. The horse didn't expect such an aggressive warning. It just wanted to say hello. Fortunately, the large animal realized the potential consequences of persistent behavior, and the horse retreated fearfully. What do you think about this donkey's tactic? Although donkeys have the reputation of being incredibly stubborn animals, they also exhibit several virtues. For example, they're patient. Here, a dog was having lunch next to a donkey, and while dogs typically dislike having other animals loiter around their food bowls, behaving rudely towards the hoofed companion proved to be a mistake. The donkey had no intention of taking the neighbor's food and simply wanted to spend time together. However, the dog misunderstood the friend's motives and started to snap. The canine, perhaps recalling its predatory ancestors, decided to assert dominance. The donkey tolerated this behavior for quite a while. The dog mistook the donkey's friendliness for weakness and continued to occasionally nip, bite lightly, and intimidate. The donkey attempted reconciliation, but the dog didn't understand who it was dealing with at all. In reality, the donkey could have easily dealt with such an opponent if it chose to. Finally, the dog got carried away, believed too much in its own strength, and moved away from the food bowl, almost snapping at the donkey's face. The donkey had had enough. It turned around and delivered a stunning kick with its hind hoof right to the dog's head. The herbivore hit the target the second time, and this was a devastating blow. The dog crashed its head into the wall and almost collapsed under the donkey's feet. Now, it won't be so cheeky anymore. Sometimes even domestic pigs can show aggression and attack their farm neighbors. It might seem amusing, but pigs are genuinely dangerous. They are massive, and a thick layer of subcutaneous fat provides excellent protection. However, this boar clearly made the wrong choice of its target. The donkey doesn't tolerate insolence, and even against an opponent twice its weight. Moreover, the donkey realized that kicking the intruder would be futile. Instead, the hoofed creature grabbed the boar's nape with powerful teeth and lifted the opponent right off the ground. The pig did not expect such resistance and screamed in desperation across the yard. This will be a good lesson for other potential troublemakers. The donkey didn't let go for a long time. Its neck is much stronger than it appears, just like its jaws. Therefore, the more massive boar couldn't break free from the grip. It had to wait until the donkey played enough, enjoyed the punishment, and released it. In the future, the boar will never dare to challenge such an opponent again. Hyenas surrounded a donkey right here during a night hunt. Dangerous wild predators pose a threat even to lions and leopards. Hyenas may seem clumsy, but they can move very, very quickly. Their main weapon is their jaws. A hyena's bite literally shatters bones. It seems that if a pack of predators were to handle a lion, they could quickly overpower and tear apart a donkey. But the hyenas didn't know who they were dealing with. The donkey turned out to be an incredibly tough fighter. It immediately noticed the approach of the predators, but unlike many other hoofed animals, it didn't panic at all or even think of retreating. The hyenas stopped right away. Apparently, they had received their fair share of beatings and understood that if they weren't feared, it was no gift but a trap. Indeed, the enraged donkey launched an attack on several hyenas at once. The hoofed creature easily dispersed them, as if Superman dispersing unruly street hooligans. The hyenas didn't expect such resistance, but wisely decided to keep their distance from this opponent. If you think the donkey is just bluffing when it attacks predators and that some hyenas could easily handle it, then you're mistaken. In reality, it wasn't the donkey that was in danger, but the predators. Their numerical advantage saved them. Camera footage captured various instances from different countries when a hyena attacked a donkey alone. Even domestic hoofed animals proved strong enough for powerful resistance. Moreover, the donkey simply beat up the hyena, turning it from a dangerous and fearsome predator into a pitiable semblance of a hunter, worthy only of sympathy. A hyena attacks a donkey, but the hoofed animal's body is very dense, with thick and tough fur and strong skin. Naturally, the predator looks for the most convenient way to grab their prey with his teeth, usually targeting the tail. However, the hyena doesn't know that today, it's the one here as the victim. The donkey swiftly rotates and catches the hyena with its own teeth. This predator was not accustomed to fighting with its paws and relies precisely on its jaws. When the donkey attacks a smaller animal, it skillfully and reliably seizes it with its enormous teeth around the neck, ear, or skull. Initially, it might seem that the herbivore could only give the hyena a nip, but that's not like it. It turns out the donkey's bite is much more dangerous. The hyena clearly didn't expect that. The donkey grabbed the opponent from above in a way that prevented the hyena from breaking free and counterattacking. Its jaws couldn't reach the enemy, and the predator found itself trapped. It's entirely helpless because the hyena isn't accustomed to fighting with its paws. Moreover, the donkey surprises with its tremendous strength. It effortlessly lifts the hyena. The predator's front paws are off the ground, and its head is firmly caught in the donkey's grip. The secret to the donkey's formidable bite lies in its diet. These animals belong to the semi-desert and desert fauna, being herbivores. In the harsh climatic conditions of arid regions, vegetation is not lush and succulent, but rather incredibly tough, hard, and prickly. The donkey gladly consumes thorns that 90% of other herbivores could never even handle. Thanks to this, the bite's strength is immense. Additionally, like horses, donkeys have flat, not sharp teeth. Therefore, they don't cut the food during grazing. Instead, they grind it like an industrial vise. Indeed, it's a genuine set of industrial pliers. The cruel, desert-like character of donkeys pushes them to deploy their weapons at the first sign of a threat. The hyena simply didn't know who it was dealing with. The donkey not only completely neutralized its ability to attack, but practically immobilized it. The neck is a sensitive area for many animals, and the adjacent area contains large blood vessels and cervical vertebrae. An attack in this region inflicts severe pain on the hyena, literally paralyzing the predator. Moreover, the potential injuries are significant. Notice the sharp, jerky head movements the donkey makes, squeezing the enemy in its jaws. If this were to continue, the herbivore could easily snap the predator's spine, grinding the cervical vertebrae. In this way, the herbivore practically decapitates the predator while keeping the skin intact. The donkey doesn't like getting messy, so in a way, the donkey spares the opponent. Surprisingly, after a few minutes, the donkey releases the enemy. However, the noble act of the hoofed animal is shown in quite a specific way. The donkey walks back and forth with its prey, as if mocking and showing the hyena who's really in charge. This painful and frightening lesson will be remembered by the hyena for the rest of its life. Amazingly, an ordinary donkey turns out to be a more fearsome and formidable fighter than some sort of a cheetah. Moreover, if necessary, the donkey can use its hooves to trample the hyena. With powerful kicks, a small but strong and compact donkey can throw away a large predator, deflecting the attack from a dangerous angle. And if it were to grab the hyena from the front and simultaneously start stomping or kicking, it were to become a beating for the helpless enemy. Didn't really expect to feel pity and sympathy for a hyena now, did you? Or perhaps you believe the predator won't leave this hoofed creature alone, and therefore you'd prefer the donkey to finish the job. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. We would be very curious to know your opinion. And share your opinions of the donkey's fighting qualities in general. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to see even more incredible episodes from the lives of animals that few expect to perform heroic feats. Chimpanzees only seem like cute little monkeys. In fact, they are cruel scumbags who often harm other creatures for no reason. And here, a really gang of chimpanzees found a raccoon in their enclosure, which was just exploring the neighborhood. The kid quickly realized that getting to know large relative to himself and completely inadequate primates would not bring him anything good. So he tried to hide in the thicket. The chimpanzees tried to catch an interesting creature for them. What happened next leaves more questions than answers. The raccoon literally flew out of the bushes and in flight did a triple somersault with its limbs stretched out in different directions. How did he do this acrobatic trick? Was he performing in a circus, or did he grab onto something with his front paws when the primates were pulling on his hind legs and then let go? How do you think the little beast did such a trick like this? Pay attention, he not only survived, but was also able to quickly cope with dizziness and tried to hide in the pipe. Unfortunately, the cruel chimpanzees caught him by the tail and did not let him escape, but they didn't know who they were dealing with. The little raccoon got out by himself and forced himself to let go with a painful bite. It remains to be hoped that he will be able to get out of this mess. Would you have intervened if you had witnessed the scene at the zoo? Reply in the comments. Pinnipeds are cute creatures, but they are remembered not only because of memes. This sea lion is clearly against kayakers swimming in his favorite lagoon. It can be understood. A lot of noise, perhaps even garbage, and in general, a whole crowd of athletes does not really contribute to a measured rhythm of life. And the pinniped showed its discontent brutally, unequivocally, and very much in the spirit of neighborhood conflicts. The sea lion just swam up to one of the kayakers and contemptuously threw an octopus right in the face. This insult stunned the man. Pinnipeds, of course, do not cause any harm to humans, But the kayaker clearly did not expect this sort of development. Maybe the animal is on the contrary, shows sympathy and shares some lunch. What do you think? Share your opinion in the comments. In any case, no matter how funny seals and sea lions are, they should not be underestimated. This dog tested the patience of the pinniped for a long time. He barked and came closer and closer. There doesn't seem to be any serious threat, but this is pretty infuriating, isn't it? So the sea lion was enraged. His reaction was lightning fast. He just grabbed the dog with his jaws and threw him back 10 feet. Moreover, the dog immediately jumped to his feet. It did not receive any serious injuries. It was clearly grabbed quite neatly and was rather stunned by fight than hit the ground. But she will have to learn a lesson. Otherwise, she will fly into the sea next time. By the way, if you would like some more funny stories, then write about it in the comments underneath this video. Although digging is an exhausting activity, for many animals it is a really good way to avoid unnecessary predator attention. Therefore, warthogs often arrange their lairs in burrows. Although it is inconvenient to dig with their hooves, their fangs are perfect for loosening the earth. But this warthog underestimated the determination of the leopard that found its hidden burrow. The spotted predator was already a little tired. To get to the victim, he had to greatly expand the entrance and dig much more than the warthog itself. For not the most hardy cat, this is a real test. But leopards should not be underestimated. He managed to get to the very bottom of the hole and dig out a large boar, taking it right by the throat. In a narrow passage, it was not difficult for the cat to grab the opponent by the vulnerable spot. The warthog did not take this into account. If he had been the first to run out of the hole, or at least protect his throat, he would have had a chance, because the leopard was tired. And so, a well-aimed blow to a vulnerable point brought victory to the patient cat. And there are cases when even the most sworn enemies unite for the sake of a common goal. This lioness didn't have the easiest day. She managed to find the warthog's lair, but it turned out to be a hole that still needs to be dug. Actually, lion paws are good for this. White pillows, powerful muscles. But still, digging is not what these predatory cats are good at. The lioness has to put a lot of effort into this. But the main thing is that cats are not the most hardy and patient predators by nature. They can produce impressive results, but at short distances. Chasing prey for a long time, digging, running, fighting, it's more about wolves, not about lions. Therefore, when an adult and large warthog rebuffed the lioness, she was already tired. We must pay tribute to her. The predatory cat was able to overwhelm the victim and grab her by the throat with its fangs. Except she didn't bite the vessels on the prey's neck, but squeezed the trachea. A lioness also needs stamina to strangle. My strength is running out. The victim is strong and desperately resists. And then the hyena appears. A more stupid and inexperienced predator in her place would have tried to attack an opponent in order to take away his prey. Such cases have happened more than once. A hyena attacks, for example, a leopard while it has already caught and strangles an unfinished prey. The hyena's attack fails. The leopard avoids meeting its fangs. But the hyena does not have time to grab the opponent's prey either. The unfinished victim is only glad of such competition and takes his chance. She jumps up and often successfully escapes from both predators. And the leopard jumps back and dodges the blow. And the victim breaks free, bounces off the hyena, and escapes from the predators. As a result, all predators remain hungry. It seems that this hyena is an experienced robber and has already been in such situations. She understands that it is better to take a chance and share lunch with the enemy than to leave everyone without food. Therefore, the hyena does something that neither the lioness nor the warthog expected from her. The hyena helps her sworn enemy. When the warthog is about to break free from the lioness's grip, the hyena attacks it with its powerful jaws. As a result, predators of not only different but also hostile species collectively overwhelmed and finished off the boar. Surprisingly, the lioness showed reciprocal nobility and did not drive away the hyena or even establish a feeding order. The two of them dined on the loop together. It is unlikely that this truce will go beyond one episode, but the case itself is pretty rare. It is necessary to recognize the courage of this buffalo. His attack on the rhino is really impressive, because only a desperately brave creature can attack someone with such an advantage in strength. Externally, it may seem that the difference between these animals is insignificant, but that's not the case. The bull reaches a mass of about a ton. That's a lot, except the rhinoceros is 3 times heavier. He also has an almost impenetrable armored hide and specific combat tactics. The bull was clearly mistaken in his assessment of the enemy's forces. In fact, the rhinoceros is betting on one crown blow, but the beast has mastered it perfectly. This is a dangerous blow from the bottom up with a curved, long, and sharp horn, which threatens to pierce the belly of the bull and get to its internal organs. The bull clearly did not understand who he was messing with. For a while, he's holding up well, trying to push the enemy at the expense of experience and the ability to keep a foothold. But the rhinoceros still sweeps away the opponent with a crushing battering ram, and then drags him along the ground and at the same time delivers terrible blows to the bull. The bull survived, but he remains disappointed to plow the ground with his horns. An adult wildebeest and zebras know that when crossing a body of water, the main danger is crocodiles. These huge reptiles hide perfectly in muddy water, and thanks to the suitable color of their durable scales, they become almost invisible. Therefore, a sudden attack from under the water often takes ungulates by surprise. To prevent this, here a small herd literally runs across the river and looks straight ahead in order to react in time to the appearance of the reptile, jump over it, and then also even trample it. But the danger lurked where it was not expected. The ungulates had no idea that they would encounter not a predatory reptile here, but a leopard. Moreover, he hid under the slope of the shore, and thanks to the concentration of the ungulates of the water, remained completely unnoticed. For him, such a fast run of ungulates past was a real gift. You could watch them and choose your prey to your liking. The leopard did just that. It rushed at the family of zebras from behind and attacked a young individual. The predator acted so abruptly and quickly that the mother simply did not have time to react, and the leopard grabbed the young zebra and immediately rushed back. He accurately grabbed the prey by the throat under the jaws, in the most vulnerable place, used inertia overload, and broke the trachea with one blow. It usually takes a leopard a couple of minutes to strangle its prey, but these ungulates did not know who they were messing with. Thanks to the experience and expertly executed technique, the predator overpowered the victim in a matter of seconds. Rams have a bad habit, actually. They like to butt heads not only with other rams and equal rivals, but also with any other animals in general, including with their neighbors on the farm. Rams even attack much larger and more massive cows. When a ram attacks a pig or dogs, it's unpleasant, but sooner or later, any gangster meets an even cooler aggressor. It turned out that way here, provoking this stallion was a fatal mistake of the ram. The horse did not play wrestling, ram the opponent, or kick. The stallion immediately used the most destructive weapon in his arsenal, his teeth. He took advantage of the height advantage and was able to grab the ram across the back with his jaws, accurately hitting the bite right on the spine. And the consequences were devastating. The strength of the jaws turned out to be so huge that the stallion literally broke the ram's spine in a couple of seconds. After that, the enraged horse lifted the ram above itself and began to shake it from side to side. The person who witnessed this scene would be glad to help the loser. But at this stage, it is wiser to wait for the horse to just calm down. Which of today's cases when the animal received a powerful rebuff struck you the most?